are the challenges. If you are a product company like Monday, you probably don't have a technology engineering or technology challenge, and the challenge lies in some place sales, good product, marketing, something else. In AI, it's in many cases is a research problem. These tools are not mature as we would like them to be. It's a data issue challenge. How can I get to the data? And it's a talent challenge in many cases. And maybe the last one that I mentioned is how you take an AI and make it a product. It's also usually not easy task. It's not one-to-one.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. So what if somebody would come to you and say, okay, I'm thinking about a solution, I'm a starting entrepreneur. What would you tell him? Like what would be the next tip that you would give him in order to start his way as an entrepreneur?
In AI or in general?
You could say like both.
I think that my main tip, not the tech tip, not the technological tip, will be spend as much as time as you can to understand the problem that you want to solve and the market that you want to serve. Once you start the journey, it's possible, but it's harder to change the market, and it's even harder to change the problem you want to solve. And don't run. This thing takes times, months to really understand what are you trying to solve and to whom and why, and how much they will willing to pay, and what kind of alternative solution they have. Don't rush yourself. AI wise, it's tricky. It's really tricky because if this entrepreneur understands AI, then he probably knows what he's doing. He knows what is AI, and then the discussion will be how you make sure you reduce the time to market, even though that you have research and AI, etc., etc. The problem is with the entrepreneur with great idea, which need AI, but they don't understand an AI. And this is hard. This is hard because develop AI and doing engineering, it's not the same thing. And here I'm trying to convince them that engineering and AI is not the same thing, and bring a talent as soon as you can to do the AI and let him the freedom to work, because it's not engineering.
Yeah, so you think it's a different way of understanding the problem. So a usual, I would say, developer would not see the problem or would not be capable of solving this problem. This is what you're saying.
It's a different methodology. If we would ask the same question about hardware, it was clear that the way to develop hardware and develop software is different. No one would surprise when I'm saying that. Yeah. I'm saying that the way to develop AI or machine learning and the way to develop engineering is also different, because it's not the same way of doing the right architecture and engineering, and to think of scale and to be efficient. It's different. The thing that you need to build are different. The expected output of the expected output from AI researcher after 3 weeks is different than what you expect from an engineer.
So you're saying that the timeline is, so it needs more time, to create a good AI solution, and that may be a challenge. But for me, as I see it, it sounds like this buzzword that you're saying, we're doing an AI, everybody's using it, even if they're just doing some kind of an automatic solution, whatever, and they call it AI. And how would you define something that is AI and it's not AI? So most people would not really know what is the difference, but you as someone who comes from there, you would say that almost every company would say this word somewhere in their pitch, right?
We're doing AI, blockchain, virtual reality on Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Yes, a lot of buzzwords. I think that many company don't really need AI at the beginning. It's too expensive, too complicated, too risky. They don't need it. And in many cases, what they do in some kind of rule machine. If this happened, do this. If this happened, do that. And in many cases, this is what they need to do. If their company is not a pure AI play, a tech, why bother? Why invest all of these resources to do it? And by the way, in many cases, you hear in due diligence and things like that, we collect all the data and then we will monetize the data because we have AI, which means
yeah,
that we have a lot of data, we have no clue what to do with it, and we hope that someone will pay for us on it, usually.
yeah, yeah, of
Um,
course.
um, in most of the cases, in many of the cases, you can start with a simple rule-based decision, and that's it. If you do want to do AI and you need it, then you need to invest a lot of time in the infrastructure.